Okay, good morning, good afternoon. This is my oral presentation for today. So the first question is, what activities do you undertake when preparing reception for service? So here's the introduction. So all hospitality operations must prepare for all activities they engage in. The situation is no different from or for front office, a travel agent, or a food and beverage area. Front office, just as a restaurant, a kitchen, or guest rooms, also requires preparation. The front office or reception of an accommodation venue is the central location through which guests check in, check out, make inquiries, settle accounts, and go to for any help they might need. Okay, for the next question or the second question is, how do you check expected guest movement for the day? We check and review the arrival list at the beginning of the reception shift. This is to familiarize the staff with the names of the guests who are arriving that day and preparing for the following tasks. Okay, the next question is, why is this activity is important for the operation? Point number 1 is to recognize regular guests and then check the status of reservation, a guaranteed reservation and non-guaranteed reservation. Check the arrival time and pre-register any guest if necessary. So that is why the guest movement or checking of the expected guest movement is important in the operation. Also, in addition, so the cord RG or regular guest will appear on the specials listing on the arrival list. To help this task, regular guests will usually get special attention greater than the ordinary guests, such as a welcome gift, non-smoking pool view, or high floor. Proceeding to the next question, the third question, says here, what factors do you consider when allocating guests or guest rooms? Okay, this is the consideration of stays room. So when reviewing daily guest movement, you also need to take into account the guests who, for some reason or other, stay longer than their expected departure date. If this happens during full occupancy period, it can be very difficult to accommodate these guests. The earlier you discover who these guests are, the easier it is to find accommodation for them, either at your hotel or at the alternative property. Of course, during a low occupancy period, this is not really as big as a problem, as we can accommodate the guests for a longer period of time. Okay, the only way to catch the guests who are stay rooms is when housekeeping expect to have a check-out vacant dirty room and it is still occupied. If this occurs, housekeeping must contact reception straight away. Then reception has the task of trying to contact the guest to find out what time they will be checking out. So to sum it up, these stayover rooms will affect the projected daily guest movement figures occupancy, as the hotel had expected to get the room back for sale and may have already sold it again. So in addition, rooms need to be allocated according to the guest requirements. Non-smoking room, king-sized bed, interconnecting rooms, poolside rooms, and so on. So the housekeeper's report will be used to determine which room are vacant, clean, dirty, out of order, or on inspection. Room allocation is one of the first job for reception staff, working out which guests are to go in which room. So for the fourth question, says here, how would you follow up an uncertain guest arrivals. Okay, so reception staff may be required to follow up uncertain arrivals. Okay, if the establishment is running at high occupancy and there are bookings that have not been guaranteed, reception staff may be required to ring guests using the contact number supplied and reconfirm their arrival. So if the guest changed their mind and is not going to arrive, this means their booking can be cancelled and their room can be put back on the board and offered to someone else. Guests who are on waiting list may be offered the room, or walk-in guests may be able to use the room. Now, it says here, what would you do in case of an arrival which is tentative and the hotel is full? If the hotel is full, I will suggest to the guests that the hotel is currently full and I am very sorry for the inconvenience, and I will recommend other hotel for him or her to stay on. Proceeding to the next question, question number 5. Says here, where and whom do you distribute daily arrival lists? So arrival list will be used by a number of departments within your hotel. Different places of information on the listing will be essential to one department and not for the next. The arrival list or the arrivals list is a necessary tool in the planning undertaken to receive guests. It helps to inform management and staff from different departments of what is happening within the hotel and allow them to make certain decisions such as housekeeping, concierge, porters, security, food and beverage, management, laundry, kitchen, and so on and so forth. So to the next question, question number 6. Says here, how do you explain their reservation to a newly arrived guest? So here's how. If the guest does have a reservation, the reception staff may find their details on the registration card or similar stored in the registration box, which is kept at reception with cards filed in alphabetical order by surname. Okay, a pre-printed registration card indicates to the guest that they were in fact expected and provides another level of service in that the guest does not have to take time filling in required details that have been already provided. When the reservation was made or retrieved from the guest history, the guest must check the details to ensure they are correct, make any necessary changes, and sign the registration card. If no previous reservation has been made, the guest must complete a blank registration card and the check-in process will be a lot longer. Proceeding to the question number 7, almost there. It says here, a walk-in has requested for a double room for 5 days. How will you determine if you can accept this guest or not? To confirm if you can accept the guest, so I will have to check the room status report or room availability report. This indicates whether or not the establishment has rooms available and their room type, regular rooms, deluxe room, or so it says double room for 5 days. I will also be needing to check the PMS system to determine availability during peak periods. The manager will know exactly how many rooms can be sold or if I can give this guest his demands on that day. So first thing, I am going to advise the guest what is available and then the appropriate room that he or she can take, or the days or the available days that he can or she can acquire on that particular day. Now, if the checking is done and I find that there is an available double room for 5 days, I will accept the guest. And if not, I'm gonna decline a guest request for accommodation because they are unfit to be in my hotel or they don't agree with the establishment policies and procedures. Okay, that's it. Proceeding to the last question. Demonstrate how you would refuse a walk-in because the house is full. Okay, some challenge, and I'm gonna try. So, when the hotel cannot accommodate a walk-in guest because the house is full, okay, the front office agent or the front desk can make a situation a little easy for the guest by providing direction to alternative hotels nearby. If there seems to be no alternative to turning away the guest, a manager, not a front desk agent, should explain the matter in a private office, because registering one guest in a view of another who cannot be accommodated can be extremely awkward and embarrassing. So that's it. Thank you for listening. This is my oral presentation for Rooms Division